I had a couple of prep meetings with the SRG team, and they told me, which I thought was really good advice, is lean into you, which is why the name actually included my own name rather than, some sort of esoteric thing about learning. It's about me. It's about who I am. And it's an exploration of my own curiosity with the guests, which is also why I think it feels authentic, because I'm not another persona when I'm there. I'm just fully myself, being curious about other people and learning what they're learning, essentially. I often find that when we're talking about these deeper topics that I cover in the episode, it's long form intentionally, because a lot of these topics require deep thought and require you to be more deliberate about them. The best way I learn, honestly, is just going through the motions of the show, from researching a topic, researching a guest, and really trying to take that on, then going through it in the conversation. And quite crucially, and this is where I might differ from a lot of other hosts, in the writing process afterwards, I made a very audacious goal, which every episode should have an article, which was so much work for myself. But honestly, there's so much learning through that own writing process itself. So, if nothing else, if no one checked into the show, I still would just learn so much and love doing it. So definitely juice worth the squeeze, just from a personal learning standpoint, and what I've been able to have a higher degree of, I think, practicality through the learning as well. I'll use a bit of a funny metaphor, but I feel like I'm a professional gumbo cook sometimes. I take a little bit here and a little bit there, and I put different things together, and the end result is a nice stew. So I take a little bit from here, there, and everywhere. And some guests I pick up really kind of academic or theoretical points. I've researched a lot of authors in our space. And again, very audaciously buy their book, I read it. So that's another way of learning. And then I interview them and then I write about it. So I pick up some of that. I pick up some from people who are in the forefront of things like AI and the future of work. And then I mix that with practitioners through panels that I've had on with 4 or 5 different people, and what's happening boots on the ground. That's the gumbo that I'm putting together in the end, in the episodes and in the writing as well. So it could be small things like, hey, I know you have this guest on, and doing research on the guest. I know they're about this or focusing on that. Have you thought about these questions? I've done quite a few live podcasts. So it's just ops things like, hey, this is how we make sure that we actually get the recording, and, some of those how-tos. Or it might even be in adding certain segments or questions, or looking at things and say, hey, I think you can tweak this to have better questions or a better prep or things of that nature. So I would say it started out very much hands-on, and it's moved to adding a few spices here or there rather than changing the entire recipe, so to speak. So incremental and continuous improvement. When I was really young, I had really terrible stage fright. And when I was on stage, it was really difficult for me to articulate myself. I'm in a profession where that's my bread and butter. So it's almost like going out of my comfort zone intentionally to keep pushing myself. So another thing I've learned and gotten better at is being in meetings or feeling confident to share more insights in meetings with clients, on social media, feeling like I have a voice that's worth people listening to, which I think is a very powerful and something that builds a lot of confidence. Professionally, there's a lot of interesting things that have happened in the last year. From almost probably a third to half of the guests, they will take payment if they work with a vendor or if they work on a conference. And people keep referring each other and saying, no, I don't want anything, because, your intention isn't to monetize this. Your intention is to share towards the industry. And the best gratification I can have is I've gotten messages from people who are saying, hey, I'm driving up to facilitate a session in our office and I put your podcast on, or, hey, I listened to this and it really resonated with these stories. So it feels like the audience feels the humanity and feels the personal aspect of it, which is all that I would want. I would say that you're all very human in the best way possible. You're very intentional about using technology and AI, but in meaningful ways. So to keep the human aspect of it all, I think that you're really good at getting creative ideas out and produce it in a way that keeps that human touch, but also sharing it in a way people want. And I also think that you're really good at looking at something and incrementally improving it through that data-driven approach. There's been success meetings when you look at metrics and say, hey, we got this metrics here, let's tweak this. So I'll coin a funny term, but you can call yourself podcast scientists.